And we are back.
Oh shit.
Episode 58.
Yeah.
Episode 58. I'm back in the saddle. It was Chat with Ethan last week, huh?
Yeah. It was pretty good. You haven't listened to it.
Well, listen, let me tell you something. I have been in Big Sky in Bozeman, Montana, which is a day away from Chattanooga, Tennessee. And you know, it was beautiful out there. I'm sure we'll talk more about it. There was snow everywhere. It snowed every day. There's horses. There's elk. There's moose. There's bear just roaming and running wild in the free. And probably the last thing that I wanted to look at was Chat with Ethan, to be honest with you. But I'm just kidding. So we was on our way. This was Friday. We was on our way into West Yellowstone. It's a little snowmobile town.
Ooh.
About an hour away from Big Sky. We went snowmobiling all day, talking about that. But we was on our way going through West Yellowstone through this snowstorm blizzard style, about 70 miles per hour on these roads that somehow or another you can drive on. Doesn't make sense to me. Don't get it, but it's cool. And I got a notification saying that everything went through and that it popped up on my phone, and I was looking at it. So I watched like the first 5 minutes. And I was like, well, I need to focus on where I'm going.
I probably need to drive this snowmobile.
Yeah, I probably need to focus on what's going on. Oh, no, this was the car on the way there.
Oh, okay. Well, still.
Yeah, still.
So you guys drove up there?
No. So we flew out of Chattanooga to Chicago. And then we had like a 4 or 5 hour layover. Then it was Chicago to Bozeman.
Okay.
So Chat to Chicago, an hour and a half. Yeah. Not bad. Chicago to Bozeman, 3 hours and a half. Also not bad. The dude got us there in 3 hours both ways. Flew in at night, and then got picked up by my friend Bailey and her husband Matt. We drove. We were in Bozeman the first night. Stayed in Bozeman, which is about an hour from Big Sky, so the valley of that area, which is it was an awesome place, great town. We went and got some food. A place called Sidewinders, like a marine missile themed place.
Okay.
Never in my life been around such nice people. Did not meet one person that was rude or like mean or anything. Just super nice, grateful, helpful, respectful people.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So then the next morning we got up and everybody was ready to go to Big Sky. Well, your boy had already done his research and realized we're not going to Big Sky immediately because 20 minutes in the opposite direction is a grizzly encounter. All right. So we go to this grizzly encounter. We pull up and we get the tour or whatever, and we walk over to the cage, and it's literally, I would say, it's like it wasn't what I was expecting. I was expecting like in the wild, like there's a barbed wire or like an electric Jurassic Park fence, and you can't get out of it. Right? It's not the case. It was a very small place.
Okay.
They had a bear cave den that is very similar to what would be in the wild.
Okay.
But they built it.
Okay.
And then the area has everything that they would ever see in the wild. It has like a little stream, several trees to play with, some elevation, some flat ground, like some like stuff they would play with out in the wild.
Yeah.
But it was probably 50 yards worth.
Okay.
Like a half of a football field.
Yeah.
Is about what it was. So we get there. It's freezing, by the way. Snowed every day. It never got above 20. It stayed around, but it really didn't get above 10 the whole time we was there. So it's fantastic. So we walk over there. There's a guy like working there that's like, I guess, the tour guide for this little exhibit.
Yeah.
The bear out there was named Max. Max was about 800 pounds.
Jeez.
And he was a brown bear, not a grizzly, but a brown bear.
Brown, yeah.
So I've learned that not all brown bears are grizzlies, but all grizzlies are brown bears.
Yeah.
And it's all in the same family. You got Kodiaks, brown, that type of thing. So learn that. Just depends on where you're at in the country. They're all the same damn thing.
You still don't want to mess with a brown bear, though.
No, I mean, they're all the same thing, right?
Yeah.
So, so he was telling us everything about these brown bears and how they had a bear that the place was built upon for 20 years. He was 19 years old. He was the first bear there. They got him when he was 2 weeks old.
Jeez.
The owners of that place interacted with such bear. Like, that bear thought those two people was his mommy and daddy.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
His name was Brutus, and he died at 19, and that was premature. Did you know that bears, full-grown brown bears living in captivity, can live anywhere from 30 to 45 years old?
Good Lord. I did not know that.
Yeah, and the older they get, the more weight they'll gain. So at peak, they can be anywhere between like 1,100 and 1,700 pounds.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So this is a little guy. He's just a couple years old, and
I think you sent me a video. He looked like he was just like a dog playing with toys.
Yeah. So he's just like, so what was funny is you'd say his name.
Yeah.
And he would look at you because he knows his name. And like, if he hears a sound, it's a human voice is different to him. So he's going to like look at you.
Yeah.
So he'd look at us and he would make sure we were watching him play. And as soon as we stopped watching him play, he made a noise to get our attention.
That's very interesting.
Something else that they do that he didn't do, but the other one that they have there, which his name is Bella. Bella's the oldest one. It's the girl. She's a little over 1,000 pounds. But they said what she does is if you don't pay attention to her, or if you're paying attention to Max and not her, she will throw logs at you. So the bigger the log, the more time you have to react. But like that log he was playing with, did I send you a picture of the log?
I think so, yeah.
I mean, the log was probably a couple 100 pounds.
Yeah.
They would they don't pick it up and throw it.
Yeah.
They grab it with their claws and they just kind of move like this and it just tosses.
Huh.
And so they didn't think they knew where they were throwing it, but they do, obviously, because somebody was heckling them one time and then just came out there and just threw one at the person. And the person got out of the way. So you have to sign a waiver when you walk in there in case you get hit with a log going 20 miles per hour by a 1,000-pound grizzly bear.
Makes sense.
So that's something. So learned a lot about that. The tour guide also told us, or the exhibit guide, that bears are not what you should be worried about in Montana.
Not necessarily.
And I said, okay, great. What should you be worried about? He goes, well, on a scale of 1 to 4, like bears being 4 is in like the least intimidating.
Okay.
I was like, okay, well, 1,000-pound grizzly bear is a little bit intimidating. He's like, not really. I was like, okay, it is, but go ahead and let me hear what you got, pal. Yeah. So bison is number 3.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll get to that. Did you know that a bison is one of the strongest back-legged animals on the planet?
Yes.
And that it can jump almost 6 feet off its back legs?
Yep. So in Iowa, near my grandparents, there were bison farms. Because that's Iowa. It's literally where their natural habitat is.
Yeah.
All the way over to Montana. So.
Right.
But yeah, I remember a few times where there were bison out of their like holdings because they would jump fences.
Yeah.
Just super easy. And it's just crazy to me.
So he was saying that most bison farms or whatever fences have to be, you'll see them like, why is that fence so high? The bison are so small compared to the fence. Like they need to be like 8 to 10 feet.
Yeah.
To secure these bison in this container.
These literal, like bigger than cows.
Yeah.
Bison.
So that was interesting. And I'll get to why they're also one of the top ones. Number 2 was a mountain lion.
Okay. Is this a downward scale?
No. So yeah,
of intimidation.
Okay, yeah. Like what you should be scared of.
Yeah.
So grizzly bear is 4, as in
the lowest on this.
Lowest on this scale. Bison is 3.
Okay.
Mountain lion is 2.
What's number 1?
Moose.
Okay, yeah. That kind of makes sense.
Why would you think a moose is number 1?
Because they're freaking crazy. They're huge. 1.
Yeah.
They're as big as some bears. Like I've seen footage of like a grizzly fighting 2 moose and losing.
Yeah, I mean they're enormous.
They're enormous,
and that had to be a big grizzly because most of these moose are like 8 feet tall.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and that's something that not a lot of people realize about moose is that they're bigger than a deer. Like a lot of people think, oh, elk, it's a little bit bigger than a deer. It's a bigger deer.
Yeah,
but a moose is even bigger than that.
A moose is bigger than a horse.
Exactly.
A big horse.
A huge horse.
Yeah.
Like a Clydesdale and a moose are about the same.
Probably, except the moose has horns.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The horns being probably as long as it is.
Yeah.
Usually,
Mhm.
if it's a decent sized moose.
Right.
Yeah, no, moose and caribou are pretty dangerous. Because a lot of people underestimate, like, oh, it's just a moose,
Yeah.
and then their car is tipped over by said moose.
So the reason why bison was 3 and moose was number 1. Bison they're not very protective of their environment or whatever, or like of their young or whatever, but they have the strongest back legs and they will attack unprovoked.
Yep.
So if you look at one, it will ram you.
They're assholes.
So it's like a rhino or something along those lines, or a hippo, or
a hippo is more like what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's where I was going. Number 2, mountain lion. They stalk their prey. So
you can go. I think like some estimates are like you can go 3 miles being stalked by a cougar,
yes,
or a mountain lion.
Yes,
and don't even know it, and then just out of nowhere.
Yes, absolutely. So he was telling me a story of a lady who was at a park, was noticed she was being stalked by a mountain lion, and backed up from it the entire time while it was looking, and then it went away. And then she walked another 2 miles to her house.
Yep.
And it attacked her and mauled her within a half a mile from her house.
Yeah.
In a neighborhood.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So that's a little intimidating.
So here's my question to you. Being in Big Sky, I mean, I'm sure there were, things, precautions taken by the people at Big Sky and all that stuff. But did you take anything with you?
Oh, yeah, we're getting there.
Okay.
So number 1's a moose. The reason why moose is number 1 is because they're extremely protective of their young.
Yeah.
All right. So like a grizzly a mama bear is more aggressive than a male grizzly.
Yeah.
Because it will protect the babies.
Of course. Makes sense.
A moose, you just got to come into its area. Which is much smaller than a bear or anything like that. Like they just kind of hang out in a specific area.
Yeah,
they don't roam 100, 200 miles.
I think it's like a couple miles.
Yes, they have an
area
that they hang out in, and if you come in that area, whether you provoke it or not, accident or not, you are now the next one to be killed or ran out of that area.
Exactly. I mean, it makes sense. I'm kind of thinking of it like evolutionarily. Like moose have to be pretty aggressive because they're dealing with wolves that are also freaking huge.
Yeah,
they're dealing with bears. They're dealing with mountain lions.
Right.
Like people like crack down on Australia being like pretty crazy as far as wild animals. But even in our backyard, like the Rockies, it's pretty freaking dangerous.
Yeah. So my man up there in Montana was like, hey, I don't know what you guys plan on doing while you're up here, but the first thing that I would do, and a lot of people are going to tell you not to do this because they're hibernating right now, is go buy bear spray. So I was like, why do you want to buy bear spray if the bears are hibernating? He goes, you don't use the bear spray for the bears.
No.
And I said, well, what do you use the bear spray? And this is where this conversation started. So the number 1 issue with bear spray for all you bear sprayers out there, I didn't know this, you don't spray bear spray at the animal.
Nope.
You spray bear spray at a 60-degree angle at the ground so that it hits the animal and almost gives you like a wall.
Yep.
Bear spray is pepper spray, except 50 times a charge. Bear spray is also $50, just to let you know. And bear spray is a weapon.
Oh, yeah. I've seen, like, the Jackass films.
Yeah.
And people do stuff like that with YouTube.
Yeah.
Instead, bear spray, like it hurts a lot more than pepper spray, or it lasts 10 times longer. Yeah.
So we do this whole thing, and now I'm all like, well, we gotta get some pepper spray because we're going snowmobiling tomorrow, and I'm not going up to those mountains unless I got some bear spray, right?
Yeah.
So we head into Big Sky. First thing we do when we get to Big Sky, we hit up an Ace Hardware because that's the only place that we can think that there might be some bear spray. We walk in there. I asked the guy, hey, man, need to get some bear spray. About to go snowmobile. And he goes, oh, you don't need that. The bears are hibernating. So as soon as he said that, I was like, okay, I guess. I mean,
you never know, though.
I'm on a snowmobile. Okay, what? Cool, man. It is what it is. We walk out. I look at my buddy and I go, you know what? If we get attacked by anything, I'm coming back and I'm going to knock that guy out. And he goes, I was thinking the same thing. I was like, yeah, it is what it is. So we didn't get the bear spray because there's no way we're going to see a bear, right? All right.
The way you pose that question makes me think that this is going to be a very interesting story.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just the bears are hibernating. They're going to come out in late March, April, May, when it warms up. They said it needs to be like above 30 degrees, kind of, at least at some point in the day for them to come out.
Yeah.
Is what they said. Cool. So we go to Big Sky, and then we do some stuff that night or whatever. And the next day, we go into West Yellowstone.
Okay.
Another hour away, a little bit further north, a little bit higher elevation. We're going to go snowmobiling. Got a little trip set up there, a little luxury snowmobile trip. It's awesome.
Awesome.
Soon as we hit I'm talking about, it ain't 5 minutes from us being in. Welcome to Yellowstone National Park.
Yeah.
Or West Yellowstone, whatever. It ain't 5 minutes. We're in the road. We see 3 elk and a grizzly on the side of the road.
What's the grizzly doing?
So the elk were way in the pasture, just kind of doing their own thing. And I was like, oh, man, I'm not. And like the car windows were like freezing. It was cold, bro. Like 0 degrees, literally driving a blizzard. I don't know if you saw the video on Facebook of us driving. Wild. I'll show it in a minute. But, and I'm like, oh, man, I don't get to see any of the animals. I'm on the wrong side of the road. I can't really see anything. All the windows are freezing. I was just complaining, just upset, not seeing any wildlife. And then I was like, wait a minute. I think there's an elk right there. And then I was like, wait a minute. No, that's a bear. And it was in the brush, like next to a river, like a little creek-ish, like a little stream. And it was just face deep in the water.
That is awesome.
And I was like, of course, yeah. All the bears are hibernating, except for this one right here that could probably rip our face off.
That could probably, depending on how fast you were driving in a blizzard.
Oh, it's going about 70.
Oh, okay.
The roads out there are wild.
Like immaculate?
As
for
in,
a blizzard?
Yeah, like you just drive. It's zero wet. It's dry powder. Think about that.
Woo.
It's like it's hard to say dry powder, but like it's
not a wet snow
at all.
It just drops and it's just perfect.
They say that sometimes there's zero precipitation out there, or not precipitation, but humidity. So there's.
I need to move to.
So
Montana,
it's actually bad for your skin because it's so dry.
Yeah.
So like I noticed that when I took my gloves off and just had my hands out. I don't know. Let's just call it 5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And my hands were already starting to like crack. Because we were so high up, it was so cold. I didn't know it because I was warm, but I can see how people like get frostbite and stuff.
Yeah, like over the last week, because you were in Montana, I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna look up like the Oregon Trail like stories in the Rockies.
Yeah.
And there like there's plenty of parties that got lost in the Rockies.
Oh, I'm sure.
But specifically the Lewis and Clark expedition, how they made it through or around or wherever they did, like, man, it's scary. Like just thinking about like, oh yeah, I feel warm. I've got all this clothing on. I'm gonna, I gotta take off my glove. Oh wow, it's not cold out here. And then you just take off everything because you start getting really hot.
Yeah. And
your brain is freaking out because it's like, we're hot, but it's cold.
Yeah.
And you just die.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So I mean, and it's so smart to think that the Native Americans knew to kill these animals and wear their skin because those animals survive out in this.
Yeah.
Like
again, evolution is weird.
Yeah.
In terms of like extreme climates,
mm-hmm.
like the desert, camels, they literally hold water in the 2 bits of their back.
Yeah.
Grizzlies, moose, elk, they're just packing a lot of fur.
Yeah.
And it's good fur.
Yeah.
It's not like a dog that's just like a short mane,
yeah.
or even human hair that's just like it's very small, like very light in places. These creatures are built to live in 0 degree weather.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It is absolutely wild.
Now, here's my question.
Uh-huh.
You were in Big Sky.
Yep.
You were near bison. Did you get any bison jerky?
Okay, so here's what I did. My whole plan was to eat something every day that I can't eat back home.
Good. That's a good vacation plan.
That's what I usually
Yeah.
try to do that. Or like if I go to the beach, your boy's eating fresh seafood.
Of course.
Or, whatever. So we got there. I had a bison meatloaf that was incredible. I had a wild game burger, which was a mix of elk and bison.
That sounds awesome.
That was also good.
Yeah.
And that was just at like a regular restaurant. Like that was like their burgers was like wild game.
I imagine like, touristy spots have like those touristy restaurants.
Yeah.
I feel like those restaurants are just like, yeah, we're not really looking to have a bunch of tourists, but this is just the meat that we get.
Yeah, like it was packed for what it was, but the town is so small that it wasn't that many people.
That sounds amazing, honestly.
Yeah. And then like West Yellowstone population is 900.
Excuse me?
900, bro.
That sounds.
And guess how you get around up there? Like, guess how you stop at a red light and turn right? Snowmobile.
Oh my god!
The entire place is encapsulated with 39 inches of snow.
39
inches in a coat. Whenever you get a chance, just type in West Yellowstone. The image that pops up is exactly where I was. The first image is everything's covered in snow. You can't even see anything.
Oh my god! I just looked it up on my phone.
Yeah, it's like a block of
That's
place
amazing.
in the middle of nowhere. Few restaurants don't even have a cop. I don't think. You just drive around on snowmobiles. Like that's
They
their
don't
main.
even have cops.
They have a couple hotels and a snowmobile shop.
Oh my gosh!
Yep.
That is literally okay. You know what? When we're making money off of this thing, off this show,
Yeah.
you're taking me.
And guess how much
We're vlogging up there.
a snowmobile per person was for the day?
You pose this question. I don't really know, but I want to guess.
Oh, hang on.
Is it high or is it low?
Just what would you like? Think in the realm of like a jet ski, 4-wheeler.
Okay.
Renting a car. Like
Yeah.
for a day, these vehicles cost anywhere from $8,000 to $15,000.
Yeah.
You had to get insurance with it.
Of course.
You had to get a $1,000 with liability.
Yeah.
Now it wasn't 1,000. It was like $20, something like that. But what do you think? We did a 70-mile backcountry trail trip. We were out there from 9 o'clock in the morning until almost 4.
Jeez.
With a lunch.
Awesome.
With a tour guide.
I don't know. Like that it sounds too perfect to me that my estimate's going higher and higher everything you say. So I'm going to say for all of this, if I had to put a price tag on it, being not somebody that's ever done something like that, I would say maybe like $750.
No.
Lower?
Lower than that, yeah. For one person.
Oh, well, one person, okay. If it was just one person going up there, I would say maybe $350 then.
So you're in that range.
Okay.
It was somewhere, depending on how many hours you went, from like $350 to like $5.
Damn. That's not bad though.
It's not bad.
9 to 4.
Dude, and it was one of those things where it was like, you can stay out here as long as you want to. Like we pay for there was trips where you pay like half a day, back half the day, or you pay for the day. And that was what we did. And you could just
do whatever.
Do whatever.
Oh my god.
Do wherever you wanted to go. There's a couple trails they do. You could do the Yellowstone Trail and go see Old Faithful. We didn't do that because there's you can only go 25 miles per hour and you can't really mess around.
Yeah.
The backcountry trail is you just don't die.
Good luck.
Yeah, I mean, it was, dude, literally 70 miles per hour. It was awesome.
Like, I imagine this place, everyone owns a snowmobile, and that's just your car.
That's how they got around.
Like, that's awesome.
Like, I thought everybody that had a snowmobile was coming to that shop. I was like, no. They have parking spots for snowmobiles. They have gas stations for snowmobiles.
Awesome.
Yeah, so.
I want to know, because now I'm thinking about it. I want to know how much an electric snowmobile would be. Because I'm thinking, like, man, in 10 years when I own a Cybertruck and I need to just go out someplace, I just get my 4-wheeler that comes with my Cybertruck and my snowmobile.
Does a 4-wheeler come with the Cybertruck?
I mean, there's a package for it.
That's awesome.
It's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
But, I mean, even if I go in the summer, like, go out camping in my Cybertruck.
Yeah.
With a snowmobile and or a 4-wheeler.
Yeah.
Just out to Yellowstone. That'd be amazing.
That would be sweet.
Anyway, but.
So, ate some elk.
Yeah.
I did eat some elk steak.
Awesome.
I was waiting for that the entire time. We went to a really nice place, got reservations. They had elk medallion, so steak. It was fantastic. What else, man? Coffee up there was great. Like I just got black coffee, but like just the coffee shops were. I like going to coffee shops. The coffee shops were very nice.
That's weird. I don't know why that. Like, I get it. It's a hot drink for literally one of the coldest places in the continental United States.
Yeah.
But like, for me, I'm just like confused as to why it would be that good.
So it's not the coffee that's good; it's the shop that's
The
good.
environment. That
So
makes sense.
you there's not a Starbucks.
I would hope not.
No, so it's all local places that are very just chill and nice.
These are the towns that will survive the apocalypse.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
so what else we do, man? I mean, we went out one night, drank a little bit, but we shared a hotel room with Bailey and Matt. Had a blast. We rode around a lot, checked out some like real estate, just kind of have an idea. It's expensive, man.
oh, okay. I was about to say how cheap or expensive.
So the area we were at, I mean, if you're just driving around that area, and like when I say driving around that area, like a 2-mile block.
Yeah.
Like you could walk into the Big Sky Real Estate Center, and they had the real estate center on a map, like one of those 3D maps that like builders have.
Yeah.
They had that out, like all the roads and stuff. It's not very big.
No.
It's all surrounded by 2 main mountains. One which is like the ski slope for private people in like the Yellowstone Club.
Yeah.
Tom Brady, Bill Gates, Justin Timberlake. Yeah. All there. And then the other one was like the Big Sky Resort, which is the public club.
Yeah.
But dude,
it's crazy to me that there's a plebeian mountain, Big Sky, and then there's the fancy mountain.
Yeah. Yeah, that you can't. We drove up it, and you not allowed to the top of it.
Yeah,
because it has Yellowstone Club, and it's like, yeah, you're not allowed to come up here. How much are you, Tom Brady? Go away. So, yeah, that's awesome. But yeah, I mean, didn't want to leave.
Of course not.
Listen, I've been out west one time to Nebraska to play football, and I came right back.
See, you say west, but that's not west.
I know it's not west. I'm saying that's as far west as I've been. Right. So
I've got to remind myself how far west Montana is. For some reason, I'm blanking on my continental United States.
It's on up there.
Okay, it's next to North Dakota.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So at one point, we were in Idaho, Montana, and Wyoming.
Okay, that makes sense.
See that part? See that little square where they all meet?
Yeah.
Kinda. That was our snowmobile track.
Good Lord.
That's where West Yellowstone is. West Yellowstone.
Yeah, I just found it. Yep.
So you see,
it's barely in Montana.
Yeah, barely in Montana. Most of our trip was in Idaho. You go into Wyoming if you want to.
So my friend Sam, this kind of winds back to last week's show. Sam was going to be on the podcast. He couldn't due to school and just other priorities, which is fine.
Right.
But Sam always talks about, like, in Idaho, you'd go to Yellowstone or you'd go to any of these mountains. You'd just go hang out, snowmobile, snowboard, ski, whatever you want. But he's mentioned to me multiple times about this elk hunting trip he and his dad took. And they could have just done it in their backyard, honestly. But they went to Alaska to go do it. And, dude, that is one of the coolest ideas I've ever heard, because they did it with a bow. They went bow elk hunting.
Yeah, some Joe Rogan stuff.
That's some Joe Rogan stuff. But, like, oh man, it's just crazy how.
So one of the guys that got Joe into hunting is named Steven Rinella.
Okay.
Steven Rinella has a Netflix show called Meat Eater, and it's where it's different. It's not a hunting show. It's not a cooking show. It's both. He goes hunt. It's part of the show is him hunting the trip.
Yeah.
Him killing it, him gutting it, him dressing it and everything, bringing it back to his house, him cooking a meal with that meat. Oh yeah. That's one episode, right?
Sounds awesome.
He's out of Bozeman, Montana. And everyone knows him down there.
Yeah.
He had books out everywhere in town. So that's pretty cool. Because everybody's like, "Who's this Stephen Ranella guy?" I was like, "I know Stephen Ranella." We're like, "Oh, I've listened to him on podcast, but we're kind of like friends."
We're kind of like friends. He's never met
I've
me.
watched his show, and I know him. He doesn't know me, but
He should watch my show.
right. So yeah, man, absolutely had a blast.
I can imagine, dude.
We're already planning the next trip.
Good.
And so I want to go into Yellowstone. Where we were 40 miles from Yellowstone.
Mm-hmm.
254 miles driving distance. Does that even make sense to you?
Wait. Is it just that windy and you have to go around 3 mountains?
No, so you have to, you can't get in directly to, like, you can't go straight to Old Faithful.
Well, no.
Old Faithful is at the very end of Yellowstone.
Yeah.
So to get to the very end of Yellowstone, you got to go into South Yellowstone.
Oh, Jesus.
And you got to do the whole tour, right?
So that's how they get you.
So you got to go in through, like, you want to go into Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and go in that way.
Okay, I found Jackson. But you got to go. There's literally a road that connects West Yellowstone to Yellowstone.
No, my friend. That might be a snowmobile road.
Well, no, it says 191.
But listen, pal, I'm telling you. Type in directions. Go Big Sky to Yellowstone. Do a Big Sky to Old Faithful. Unless it was just shut down because of snow.
5 hours and 50 minutes.
There we go.
Plus tolls.
Thank you. Told you. Doesn't make sense, does it?
Jeez.
So those roads are shut down because it's part of Yellowstone, right?
Okay.
So there's like it's like a $5,000 fine if you even get caught in there.
Wait, what?
In Yellowstone, if you get caught in there, you're not supposed to be, like in spots that tourists aren't allowed. It's like a $5,000 fine.
Well, yeah, because it's preservation.
It is volcanic, pal. There's
Well-
hot springs everywhere. You could die. Gotta be careful.
Both.
We saw there was water bubbling in the spots we were snowmobiling. In natural springs.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, just an idea I had. Were there like hot springs you could get in?
Yeah, you just pay for them.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Sounds awesome.
So we didn't do it, but we
That's
could
the
have.
sauna experience you want.
So they have. So check this out. They had an exercise place that the front of the store it said like something exercise and hot springs, and I was like, "What's that even mean? How do they have they have hot tubs? Like maybe? No. It was a wooden, nicer, smaller building.
Yeah.
On the side of the road in Bozeman, Montana, up next to a smaller ridge-ish thing.
Okay.
Walk around the back. Couple hot springs.
That's awesome.
Just so they bought the land that had the hot springs.
Yeah.
And put a business on it with a gym,
Of course.
exercise center, and hot springs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Like that. Like that's the like the. I guess it's not really a meme, but like that's the goal.
yeah.
Or like the you have to stop and do this in like Japan,
Yeah.
because like everyone knows like, oh yeah, you go to Japan, you do literally everything you want,
Right.
but you've got to do the hot springs with monkeys.
Oh, is that a thing?
Oh yeah, the monkeys will use the hot springs naturally, and like the Japanese aren't gonna keep the monkeys out.
Yeah. why
It's
would you do
it's their land as much as it's theirs, and like, oh man, that's hilarious.
That's cool. So what else, man? Weed is as of November of 2020, weed is legal now in the state of Montana.
Yeah.
Um,
Is it just smoke everywhere?
so I've never been into a weed legal state. First of all,
Yeah.
right? I mean, Illinois, but wasn't able to get out and spend time in it.
No.
So Montana, it's weed legal. So we're driving to Big Sky on our way to Big Sky in the middle of absolutely zerowhere. I'm talking about like no houses, no farms, no nothing, just land and mountains. There's it was a Bozeman Kush, right?
All right.
Yeah. So it was like, yeah, we go in there. Couldn't even find the road really. We go in there and just to see like what does a dispensary look like. So walk up, press the little ding dong button. Lady comes to the door, tells us to come in, says you can only do 2 people at a time. So me and Matt walk in there
Makes sense.
and was like, wow, this is really cool. Smells, cool in here. Like
Smells cool.
never been in something like this. Like it's literally like a pawn shop for weed.
course.
right? Or like an Apple store for weed. It's like what it was. So we go in there, and I asked the lady, I was like, so how easy is it to purchase this in town? And she goes, are you a Montana resident? And I said, no, we're from Tennessee. She goes, well, you got to be a Montana resident, and you got to have your medical card. I said, how do you get a medical card? She goes, if you're a Montana resident. And I was like, what do you mean if you're a Montana? She goes, that's how you get your medical card. I was like, so what medical disabilities do you need to get? She goes, if you live in Montana.
Well, you're living in Montana. That's already considered a liability and disability.
Yeah.
So
So
we're just going to give you the card.
I said, so there's no like sleep issues, pain, nothing. Just, she goes, if you live in Montana, you just get a medical card.
That's
So
hilarious.
I was like, that's weird. She's like, there's nobody around here selling it just to sell it. You just have a medical card. I was like, I don't find that to be true. But I asked her, I said, so when's like it recreational or whatever? Like, is there like a black market or whatever? And she was like, no, it's just, you get a medical card and you come during the hours of operation.
You just go when you just do it how you're able to do it.
I was
Come
like,
on now.
okay, this is so weird because like you go to Tennessee and you go to jail. You go to Montana, you just gotta get a medical card. Like it just throws me off.
And you get a medical card by living in Montana.
So yeah,
I mean,
yeah. So then I asked her, I said, so what about when it comes to recreational? How's that work? She goes, then you just walk in the store. And I said, so I would just like if I wanted to buy an iPhone, I just walk into a store and I say, hey, I want to buy that iPhone. And there's like a kind of a process. She goes, no, it's more like if you want to walk into a convenience store and buy a Coke. And I was like, when does that take effect? She was like, next January. And I was like, huh. So you just walk in here and you just pretend that weed's a Coca-Cola and you just buy it? And she's like, mm-hmm. She said there'll be a lot more of these too by that time.
Oh, yeah. Gunner, I've got a business proposition for you.
You moved to Montana?
Let's move to Montana, start a dispensary.
Yeah, dude. So there's that. And so then we kind of tested it out. We went out a couple times. And I was like, you know what? If you were in Chattanooga and you walked up to somebody and said like, hey, man, you have any weed or edibles or like you know somebody, you're going to get an answer.
Oh, yeah.
Even if that person does not have it, does not do it, is not an endorser of it, they know someone who is.
Everyone knows somebody.
Everyone knows someone, right? Every person we asked in Montana gave us the same answer. What was that answer?
Sure.
No.
Oh, really?
Hey, got any weed or you know anybody? And this was not to get it. This was literally a test trial, right?
Yeah.
Got anybody knows anybody's got it? Every single answer was this. The dispensary's open between 9 and 8 p.m. You just got to have a medical card. So that's the difference. That brings me to my point. Everyone should make it legal because then those who want to get it will just go get it and it's regulated and it'll help the state.
Yeah.
And it won't be some weird thing where people are like sketchy about it.
Listen, I am very libertarian when it comes to a lot of things. Drugs are one of those things.
Yeah.
Because it's just easier.
Yeah.
Just say, sure, go do it. I'm not going to go do weed. I'm not going to go do heroin.
Yeah.
Meth.
Right.
Coke.
Yeah.
Well, maybe Coke. I'm going to try it.
Right. Just smell it. You only smell
I just want to smell it. I just want to know what the smell is like.
Right.
But if we just legalize it, like the only people that are going to do it are going to be the people that are doing it right now illegally.
Yeah.
And making it illegal is only just going to make them want to go do it more because
Mm-hmm.
you're making their lives shit.
Or
And especially weed. Like weed's just kind of, I think it's one of those things that within the next 5 years, there's a possibility that the last state is going to be Georgia and they finally pass a weed law somehow.
I think, I see a 5-year span kind of for the South.
I think it's not going to be very quick, but I think once that first domino falls, everyone's just gonna be like, okay, maybe we can relax.
It'll be somebody taking the hit on medical marijuana within the bordering states of Tennessee. One of those states is gonna take the bait.
Okay, yeah,
right, and then that's gonna open up all the other ones. And then that one state that got the medical card is now going to get the recreational card, and the other state's going to be 1 year behind.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening out west.
Yeah.
If you see, I mean, like almost all of them.
It seems like it,
Yeah, there's only a couple.
Which, I mean, what are the few Western states that haven't legalized? What, Utah? The Mormons?
Idaho.
The Mormons.
Utah. Yeah, we actually said that exact same thing up there. It was like, it was the Mormon culture areas.
Which, fair enough. Again, it's just like the South. Idaho and Utah, for some reason, is like the Western South.
Yeah.
As far as religious views and stuff like that.
Yeah. It is what it is.
It is what it is. But, yeah, no. As soon as one of these states near us falls, Tennessee is going to be pressured.
Yeah.
Because it's just easy. Like, if the neighboring state has this specific law.
Yeah.
And then they cross over Tennessee state lines and they get a fine because they have it.
Yeah.
That's sort of BS.
Here's the problem. You got Florida, who you can only be bordered by Florida kind of up top, right?
Exactly.
Illinois. You can only be bordered by Illinois kind of down low, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's got to be if a Kentucky or a Georgia, Bama.
It's got to be
one
somebody
of those
that's like, yeah.
That's in the middle.
Yeah.
You know, if one of those takes the bait, they're all going to have to.
What if it's Tennessee first?
Dude,
it wouldn't be.
It's not going to be North Carolina, South Carolina. I don't see it being Louisiana. I see like an Arkansas or a
West Virginia?
Alabama or a West Virginia
Yeah.
or a Kentucky or one of those that's going to start connecting states.
I feel like Alabama might actually. It's either Alabama or Georgia that's going to be the last ones.
I can see
just because I see where like things are right now.
I can see Georgia and South Carolina being the last two.
Yeah. Although, hey, Georgia's got a new new governor or whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Whatever.
Maybe.
All right, dude. What else we got? Because I got to get going.
Nah. Last week, the episode was okay. That's what I was going to say.
Is okay.
Yeah. Sam had to bail, like I said, and I literally scrambled. I was like, I mean, I could do a show alone, but I don't want to.
Right.
And it was like 30 minutes before I wanted to get it started.
See, I thought it was going to be another confessional, and I was looking forward to it.
I'll do another one next time you're on.
Okay.
But no, like, I literally messaged Kavoth is what his name was.
Yeah.
Or at least, again, like I say in the podcast, that's what I know him as. He's an online friend. I don't expect to know his name.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, I literally messaged him because we had talked before about like, oh yeah, you're really smart. You know a lot of things. I have an approximate knowledge of a lot of things.
Right.
So you can probably teach me just as much as you teach anybody else listening. So
yeah, cool.
Why not? And I literally messaged him. I was like, hey man, I don't know what you're doing. I know it's like 2 a.m. there or something, or like 2 p.m. over there. It is currently 8 o'clock here. Do you want to like do a podcast real quick? Like an hour? He was like, yeah, sure. I don't see why not. What are we talking about? And I was like, who knows? And
cool.
then we listened. Then we got on to Discord, which is what we use. Just talked about anything.
Yeah.
It was, again, personally, not my favorite podcast that I've ever done.
Yeah.
We've done a lot of them.
Yeah.
But it was interesting. We talked climate change, which in Australia is a bit more of a big deal because they were literally on fire last year.
A little bit, yes. Problem.
So they care about climate change a little bit more down there.
Yep.
And we talked big tech, which last week, or the past 2 weeks being the last 2 weeks, Australia and Facebook having that little bit of a spat.
Yeah.
And I got a little bit of a peek behind like Kavoth and his mentality. Because again, I'm sure he's more liberal than I am.
Yeah.
We've never really talked hard politics, other than climate change and big tech now. And you can tell, like, there's just something about being in Australia right now with everything that had gone on.
Yeah.
And people are either kind of happy because it takes away the BS of social media, and it's now, again, social media.
Okay.
Of people just interacting as people instead of, oh, go like this stuff, trying to make money or whatever.
Yeah.
That, or it's just all of the younger people just being like, God, just Australia sucks.
Oh.
Because Because it's
Well, if you're an influencer or something along those lines, or trying to brand yourself,
and you're trying to make money off Facebook, yeah, sure.
right.
Trying to link to literally anything you own,
Yeah.
no. We talked a little bit about what this generation coming up, Gen Z, which I'm a part of, he's a part of. We're the older part of the generation, but there's just this like rain cloud over us right now, especially with 2020. It's just been. I think if we have like a boomer or millennial tagline for Gen Z, it's just going to be the sigh. like the silent generation, the golden generation.
Yeah.
We're going to be the sigh generation.
Maybe.
Because it's just, what's it matter? Everything's been ruined before we even got here. So.
Well, there's always time to turn things around. So
there's always time to go to Montana.
That's true. And I will be trying to find my way out there immediately.
Again, listen, I'll pay half.
Dude.
I'll go.
Dude.
I just want to go, man.
So, like, I've never been in a place. And think about this also. So I think Chattanooga is like at 600 feet elevation. The Lookout Mountain is our highest, and I believe it is at 1,800 feet.
Yeah.
Gatlinburg is at like 2,100 feet.
Mm-hmm.
I stayed for 4 days at over 6,500 feet elevation and got up to 9,000 feet elevation.
Oh yeah. I recently, because I was talking to a girl in Utah.
Yeah.
That burned down in a ball of flames.
Yeah.
Anyway, next week.
Okay. Relationship advice with Ethan.
Yeah. Just crying. All the failure coming out. Yeah, no, I was talking to her about it. I was like, yeah, we've got big mountains. Like, I literally took a picture of Lookout Mountain.
Yeah.
From like one of the hills around here. It's a great view.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, that's cute. And then she sends me a picture from her on a cliff, like that you could drive up to, and it's just all of Salt Lake City and then just mountains.
Yeah.
Huge mountains.
Oh yeah.
It's amazing.
Oh yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful out there, and I will be going back. All right, guys. So we're gonna wrap this one up. We're back. Paul Lee reached out to me via Facebook Messenger. He has some things going on tonight, so he couldn't make it tonight, but we are working on that date. He's right down the road. He knows we're on Thursdays. He knows we're running between 6 and 7 p.m. He knows that he's coming on the show. Looking forward to it. Go to YouTube, subscribe, like, watch, share, unless you're in Australia. Just don't care. And then also Spotify, check it out. Buzzsprout, check it out. Do your things. Apple iTunes, leave a review, 5-star review. Keep doing the thing. We're going to keep piling these things up, building that catalog, and keep talking, running some mouths, and then eventually Ethan will get me in here and actually get me doing some more content.
Let's hope.
Dude, I know I'm busy. I'm busy right now. Like I got to run. But when I say I might be in one of the busiest times that I've had, I'm just today. Literally walked in, was like, "Got to do the podcast. Got to go. Bye." Like that's like it's just. I'm trying to find time, but I'm running out of time to find. I got to wrestle tomorrow. I got a tan tonight. Like I got things to do, bro. So, all right, I'm gonna go grab Marcus. Thank you guys for listening. We'll catch you next week. What, episode 59?
Yeah.
All right.